I thought I'd show you guys my roles that are on my server, so you know how it's kind of planned out. So skip this, and that. Yeah, those are all just bots. So is that. So is that. So is that. So is that. Okay. Oops. So CI/CD is people that understand the difference between the two development philosophies, which is one means that in the middle of developing, that for you to put an update in, you have to have everyone paused until the update's done. If it's CD developing, then it means that you could be developing it and implementing. So those are the two philosophies. You could be putting it in and not have to pause anything, so it could update and not freeze all its members waiting on an update because it's changing something that has to put everything on hold. CD means you're past that point. Then that's a bot. This is the thing that tags bots that makes sure they stay in their column. And then we start with a commenter, and commenter is hooked up to a settings tab, so these control what they will see in the server, so that they don't get so if they don't want to get notifications, like they're not a creator for content and stuff, or they don't care about study, then they can just turn it off and they won't see the channel even. And so this one needs to be moved up. It's not part of it. Server or server tech and or owner or op. I made this to describe people. So you're not considered someone that makes a video game if you made a server that it's the video game, like Minecraft. You didn't make Minecraft, but you make a server for it and you host it. So that would be a role for people that are doing that. Or if you're running a database, that's a server tech. So that's how I keep track of those. And that's supposed to be up there. I need to reorganize these, but if I try to reorganize it on my phone, it glitches and they all get mixed up. So I'm not doing that because it takes like an hour to fix. I gotta get on the computer to fix it. Then, gamerly gaming is anyone that wants to see the gaming stuff. Creator, content creator, that's the first role you get to get into the creator community. Pawn or ponderous is the role that you have checked or unchecked if you want to be part of the university. Progemo or Programo is for people that are more likely to become a coder would probably want to start with Programo or Programmer. Each of these have a shortened prefix because the prefix could be used in certain areas where the whole name isn't. So that's why that's there, by the way. So that's for programmers. And devs are very similar to them, and they also cross over because they both build up into this, the CI/CD. So then you have DevOps, Developer Op. Those are the people that want to start in the developer, and they're both two different categories of forums that basically a framework that whole area of subject. Here's what my plan is. I haven't even made the framework for those yet. Then you have Street. This is to keep track of people who aren't exactly like, they're more of like a sharing. It's more like a sharing type thing. It's not like you would want to get actual graphic artist role to if you want to start doing stuff with like that would be art.
Somebody's gonna go in and turn your bathroom light off.
Okay, so under the street category there is there are people that make memes on Discord, server supported troll. It's kind of a joke. We usually send them at people who troll our server. And then we just make a bunch of jokes about them. But anyway,
Down the hall. Who keeps pushing this?
and meme curator, that's like a normal meme maker.
Excuse me.
And then you have basically any art that doesn't have to do with digital art. So like someone that wants to get into art. And then you finally start the first professions listing, which is the secure professions.
Somebody's stinky feet has got to.
So the first of the secure roles are political expert, then researcher, theorist, philosopher, and skeptic expert. That's someone that skeptic experts help. They try to help disprove the current ideology. So they basically they look after it in a way where they're trying to find any errors in it, and then if they do find ones, they're the first line to break that down, so it's no longer considered ideology. And then you have masonry. The next, and I wouldn't say these are like levels of profession roles. I mean, some of them are like it's a ladder, but some of them are just in that section of profession. So under masonry, there is bot dev, bot developer, or advanced op, or advanced programmer. So that's another one of those crossover roles. And then you have SOC T or Esoterica, which is the first role of someone who has basically information that is only given to certain individuals. Then you have poets and or writers of basically in a creative context of writing. That's what the poets are. And then you have hypothesis, which you have to have had to get hypothesis. You would have had stuff in secular. Like you would have had to been a theorist to become a hypothesis. And okay. And then there is the first portion of the computer artists that are like doing usually the biggest role in the first line of people who get paid to do art is the graphic artist, stylist, digital arts. It's just the basics of it. And then you have economist. Now, these people aren't really like, qualified under anything. They just understand economy. To be qualified under economy, you have to be registered as someone whose advice that stands because they have sent evidence that they're living off of it. If they're living off their economic advice, then they're registered investment advisor. But if they're not living off of it, then they just know about the economy. They're not living off of it. Then you have a psychologist and a sociologist, and then we move on to student role is student role and a category at the same time. These are people that are interning for our server, right? Or a student to it. So it goes hand in hand with being an intern to the server and to the university as well. If you're actually going into university and not just there to look at stuff, but you're actually proactive in it, and then you could become tutor, teacher, or professor. And professor actually helps basically maintain the university along with teacher. And then you have two other roles that go under the category of core roles. You have the elected president of the server, who helps with networking decisions, and you have their secretary. And that's the server's basically it's two political roles that it will actually hold voting for. Then you have sectoral. People that are known to be, they've proven to the server that they're actually in the military, and it could be any rank in the military, that's a military op, so if they anything they wanted to do here on the server to broadcast it, they would need that role. And then you have ecologist, a proofreader, and or data entry, a writer, someone that's doing the writing for more of an analytical approach on writing than a creative one, and someone who's helping correct it as well, like punctuation and stuff. Okay, I'm sure you guys get that. A CMP spec is it's a device, hardware, and or software expert. It's they're knowledgeable about it in a way that it can be useful, on a moderate scale. Then you have a net spec or networking, and this is not like internet networking. This is people networking. So there are people that know how, it's basically what I do right now, that's the biggest thing I do right now is people networking. Then you have an ML, someone that's proven they're a multilingualist. You have a then you get now we're getting into the higher graphic artistry roles. You have an interface, a user and interface graphics artist, someone that designs menus and stuff, and all the things where you select your settings. And then you have graphic illustrator, text, and sketch. So someone who's really good at prompting, that knows how to make illustrations, process illustrations, or someone that sketches at a very detailed level, and their sketches could be used as illustration. Then you have an ideologist. An ideologist is basically they decide how theories get to become hypotheses. They decide whether a theory is relevant or not. And form ideology. Ideology governs how scientific belief is accepted. It and is also the accepted ideology is used to help people doing stuff in science that might not be building the ideology of it, like physics is building the ideology, and engineering is using the ideology that physics created to then create stuff in the world. So that's how that would work. Then you have accountant, basic accountant. That's the first thing. So I did forget I had that on there. That's for someone that can do accounting paperwork on, like, so they're qualified to do accounting notation. But they're still not making money directly off of the knowledge of money. They're just making money off of making sure all the paperwork's filed of money, so taxes and stuff like that, and booking. Then you have an astronomer, and to actually fully be entailed as an astronomer, you need to have a cosmos and space expert. So you need to know how relativity and all that works to actually be an astronomer. Then we finally get into the specialist section. Biologist, neurologist. So biology is everything about living organisms, except we separate neurology from it, because neurology is such a huge subject that it kind of has its own, like, no one tries to master in biology and then also studies the brain. They pick one, either all of biology other than the brain, or the brain. Well, I mean, if they're going to pick one of them, they're both basically the same size of information that you would have to study. I myself and other people that need these to build up into really big tasks that are fulfilled in the world actually would get multiple of these. A C-law is someone that knows everything about basically the laws regarding copyright and basically all of the law which is scene law, like everything that's used. And an M-law is someone who understands everything outside of copyright. An M-law is more up. I should have waited till I got to that to mention it. Anyway, you have GOV, which is a civics and governance expert. You would have had to acquire political expert before to move up into that. Then you have global political expert. The reason these are not, they don't build into each other. One, a global political expert is different than a civics and governance expert, even though they both deal with politics. One of them deals with the structure of the political body, and a global political expert understands psychology and sociology, and other things, and so they're the study of people on a scale of the entire globe. So they're actually one studying the structure and the other is studying how that structure is actually affecting the world. So one's building Lego blocks of politics, and the other is observing the Lego blocks in action of politics. And then you have a history expert. You need to know everything. There's certain things in the esoteric that are not that are separated from history. You need to know everything that's not the esoteric to be a history expert in history, right? Then you have people that make posters. They help brand. There are people that design artwork that basically emphasizes the graphics promoting the company or a game or a movie or a series. They're designing the ads and the branding graphics. And then you have this one, which is one of the hardest things to actually do out of every profession on my server. And they are combined with each other because usually if you're doing animation and motion, then effects is basically just a level. Effects is something that's easily applied in the sense of animation and motion graphics. And then animators thrown in there because you're going to obviously know effects anyway. And we're more worried about you being able to animate or not if you're going to be considered someone that does all of that. So they're called a graphics, motion, and effects artist. Then we have the actual internet person. They're an internet specialist, IT, internet protocols, IT. That's basically if there's a role for hacking, I'm not going to probably introduce that. But if there was, that would build into it. Then there's an basic astrologist and esoteric. So after you know some of the esoteric, you have to know almost all of that esoteric you got to know some of the esoteric to get the other one. To get Astra, you need to know everything about astrology, like sun signs, all of that, everything in the you need to know basically everything that is not considered part of history, but is basically similar to that type of information, but it's separated from it and it's hidden information. So that would be the astrologist and esoteric. There is basically a finishing role of that where it just caps off, and this stands for everything, almost everything in it. But there are a few very last things, mostly having to do with you not just knowing. So like this means you know all the esoteric. History expert means you know all the history. If you have both, then you don't have to have them both labeled in your roles because that gets cluttering. They combine together to become an SOT, which is someone that knows all of history and all of the esoteric. Then you have a science or basic scientist. You have to know elementary physics to get that, and maybe part of thermodynamics. But I mean that's what you'd have to know thermodynamics and basic physics and standard relativity, not special relativity. But there's no rule for knowing special relativity. If you're going to learn special relativity, you might as well learn quantum physics as well, because the next scientific role is, you'll see. Then we have server partners, which at the same time as being the category is the role. Then sponsored, same thing. Star, you can earn star itself and have it as a role and the category, but some roles, the ones above it right here, will just grant you star role and category, which is a photography, filming, and original works. This means, so OC means that you created it. OW means that you took the original picture of it. That is the difference. Original content or original character. And then this one's original work. But one being just work, you perform some sort of work to have its originality. It does not mean you created it. The other one being that you created it and it's an original. And then that would be a characterizer or OC graphics. Then you have affiliated. I was trying to be funny there. Lyricist, musician, and DJ. They affiliated. It sounded funny. And then I got AR tech. You don't have to know everything both in these fields to do this. But and you don't even have to do it. If you would get this role if you're doing it in real life as architecture, but you'd also get this role if you're building a city in a game. It's someone that it's more about the graphics and art of it than it is about being able to physically do it. And that would be you having advanced engineering or engineering, depending on what scale you're doing it in the real world, which are roles, but they're more up there. And that, so you can make the look graphically and perform the artistry. And the other one is that you know how to do the civil engineering to be able to put it together and not have it fall apart in real life. Then there is a game design, game creator. Then YouTube is the role and the category. Supreme is given to anyone who is a booster, has VIP or MVP. And then we have Enterprise. This is the second to last section of professional roles. You have M-Law, which is all the things outside of C-Law. Then you have 5-star. 5-star is someone that has basically a high, like they're either a Marine, a Navy SEAL, or a general, and they're on a server and they'd like to be seen for that in the real world. So that's what that role represents. Then there is multilinguist builds into this. If you can be a multilinguist and also code language and decipher language through your knowledge of it as a whole, not just knowing 2 languages, and knowing enough about how to talk to someone who's doing computer coding to help them translate it into code too, so that the game converts itself into the language instead of them having to write it in 2 languages. That's what a multi-language coder does. Then you have MAS, a mathematician, someone who knows all of scientific notation regarding mathematics. That's what a mathematician is. Then you have CPC. This is the first form of coder. They need to know at least a whole 1.5 computer languages to get that. But I would recommend they know at least 3 before caring that they have it. And if you want to get master coder, you're going to have to know 5 to 10. So I know like half of 1 or half of 2. Well, I know some old school HTTP coding. What is that? Internet pages or something. And then I know a little bit of Python, and I know a little bit of Java. I don't know much more than that. I'm not a master coder. I'm a star dev, which is someone that knows how to framework. They're basically the same thing as a network. A people networker, except less about the people networking portion of it, and more about sorting the people into the areas they will be operating and whatnot. So one of them is the person that helps broadcast, and one of them is setting up the center for people. And then there is, I lost track where I was. One sec. Oh, well, I was explaining what Star Dev was. I'm not even to that. Anyway, a graphic designer and manager. This is someone that all the other graphic artists before it go to. And they help. There might be 2 or 3 of these helping a graphic developer. So, the graphic developer is finalizing things and doing anything that is an extremely high level edit once the content has went through all of these filters to get to him or her. And then there is a investment advisor. So this is someone that knows everything about money and is making money because they know about money. They know how money works. Then there is advanced engineering. Did I have normal engineering? Or did I, like, skip it? I might have dissolved it, because it's like, what's the point of normal engineering? I completely forgot. I think I skipped it, or I got rid of it. I don't know. We'll know one day if I have engineering. But anyway, there's advanced engineering. I mean, there's not many things left in the world for engineering anyway. I mean, and we're more about the inventing part of it than we are about the, because we're just informations. We're not actively out there. Because we're internet. So, and as far as inventing goes, there's not much left in just basic engineering to invent. So I may have got rid of it. Where is it now? Up here. And then you have an M&M. No, we're not talking about the rapper either. Science. Someone that knows micro or molecular and material science. So it's micro and material. So this is biology is also molecular science, but this only consists of material sciences and the structure of the very, very small, not cells, more like atoms and maybe molecules, right? And compounds. Material science. Then there's quantum physicist. Then there is, which is basically everything after basic sciences and elementary physics and thermodynamics and the basis of standard model. All other science and quantum physics is included because you'd have to know all other science to comprehend quantum physics, and so you'd have to finish off the rest of the science in between this and standard scientists and all of quantum physics to get quantum physicist. And then you have a business professional, which is sort of like the accountant and all that, but there's someone that knows. They're more about running it in the sense of a business. They know about basically corporate law, business law, and an LLC. And then I move on to SOT, all history, esoteric info. Ibibli, a book author. GSO. To be a GSO, you have to have gov and global politics. So you have to know how the structure of politics work and observe how those blocks are working at the same time. And so they're called a global sociologist instead of a global political expert because they're understanding every bit of it. Then you have a star dev. So they know everything, maybe even, and they're gonna know at least a little bit of coding, but it's nowhere near their main thing. They're the ones putting together all the things outside of coding for like servers and stuff like this. Then you have master program coder. But if you're also a programmer, well, you'd have to have both, basically. You don't know program anything through its interfaces and hardware and code it at the same time to get master coder. Then you have graphic developer. Then you have astro engineer. What that basically is literally to be a scientist, or literally to be an astronaut in the real world, you have to know everything currently known in science. And you have to know everything in all of engineering. Because if you get sent to space and something breaks, well, now you have to know everything about how it works, so that you can be versatile in your repair of it. Because at the same time that you're an engineer on the highest level and understand all of those parts, and it takes the most advanced parts to get to space, right? So you're going to need to know how to fix them and how they work on an engineering level, but you're also going to need to be as versatile as possible. So you might literally need to invent how to patch it with something that was never meant to be that part. And so literally to be an astronaut, you need to know everything in science and engineering, all of it, at the highest level. And that's what an astro engineer is. Then there is, so that's, and for short it's Astra, and an astro is all science, non-medical or environment science. An astro is someone that knows all of sciences. That means that they would be, they would be a quantum physicist, and they would also be someone that understands all micro and material science. But medical sciences does not build up into that, and neither does environment scientists. An environment scientist is the ecologist, and what they do is they study weather and other stuff. They study basically the world and how and what it needs. They don't study what they need to build to fix it. They study what's going wrong with it and what needs to be corrected. That's what an ecologist does. Then a techa is someone that has someone that's selling digital goods or curates them. And a techo is someone who is selling physical goods. Or they're an inventor and they have a patent for something. Or they lead scientific breakthrough. And then we have staff. I'll explain staff later, and some of staff is classified and you don't even get to know how it functions unless you become it. So this was just to explain all of the roles that a member of the server could get, not regarding staff. And then look at all these colors. Whoa. Yep, I got like more colors. I got twice as many colors as any Discord server that currently exists, by the way. Pretty cool, right? And a way for you to purchase them in packs of 5. With server money, which you can farm for. You could buy it with real money. I wouldn't recommend it though. That seems kind of wasteful. And plus, certain things on the server, like if you get a high profession role, like, example, if you're a teacher or professor, you're getting paid in server currency. And if you're a staff, you get paid in server currency. And one of the staff roles, if you actually just get it, you basically unlock every color except 7 of them. And there's 118. The 7 you don't unlock are tied to you turning all of your color rules off and just keeping whatever VIP or MVP role you have because it has a color. So there's 7 of those that you don't get if you become a very high up staff member. But if you even become a high up staff member, you unlock everything on the server basically. And I think that summarizes it. Wow, that was a lot. Have a good one, guys. And sorry I got kind of interrupted in the beginning of the video. I got a lot of stuff I gotta do, and my grandma's telling me to clean, if you really want to know. Bye.